Hi, good day. I am Cyrus Hermosilla, and for today's discussion we will talk about the number 12, which is responsible consumption and production. So first is responsible consumption. When we heard these words, responsible consumption is maunang ginato how to be a responsible consumer. So, the first, responsible consumption. What is responsible consumption? Responsible consumption is a sustainable consumption means to consume in a way that allows us to preserve our resources and the environment as much as possible. Responsible consumption means to instead have consumption which are more environmentally friendly but also consider the social economic impact. So responsible consumption is how to be a good or how to be a responsible consumer. So in this is kung dapat makahibaw ta also in this is dapat makahibaw ta sa pros and cons to the foods or the product that we have taken because our health is very important. And the second one is it also talks about the social and economic impacts of our society or our country because it is production. The next is consumption and production. Worldwide consumption and production is a driving force of global economy based on the use of natural environment and resources in a way that continues to have destructive impacts on the planet. Economic and social progress over the last century has been accompanied by environmental degradation that is endangering the very system which our future development. Indeed, our very survival depends. So in this consumption production is we must focus on of our needs than our wants. And also the consumption and production are very familiar to each other. When we say familial, it is a relation of one another. So na consumer, na production, na consume, na product. So matawag sila siya unhealthy. Once matawag siya unhealthy kay iyahang kanang dagan is unproportional na. Di na siya kanang paras kandi matawag siya unproportional because once paspas ang consumer once dagan ang consumer ang production niya is paspas di na siya matawag ang unhealthy because ang stock sa production is mahurot na. Once mahurot ang stock sa production maglisod na ang mga consumer niya matawag sa ito siya unbalanced. Kay ang production manggod kay kinahanglan pa siya process unlike sa consumer kay mapalit ka sa production kay kinahanglan pa siya process which is ang ubang product is it travel pa or paliton pa sa laing nasod mo lagi na ikuan nga possibility nga yung stock is mahopdan niya mo na siya makapa-unhealthy sa processing sa consumption and production. So the next slide will be a few facts and figures. Each year, an estimated 1/3 of all food produced, equivalent to 1.3 billion tons, worth around $1 trillion, ends up floating in the bins of consumers and retailers, or spoiling due to poor transportation and harvesting practices. So in this bullet, the problem is lack of transportation. So masayang gid ang ubang produkto if ang transaction is hinay or ang ubang mga transportation is kanang delay niya ang mga product nga i-deliver is masayang lang kay tungod lacks of transportation. Ang paagin lang ani niya is the government will provide a good transportation para ma-deliver ang mga products ngadto sa mga sellers or resellers. So the second bullet, if people worldwide switch to energy efficient light bulbs, the world will save $120 annually. If people worldwide switch to energy So kung atong gamito ng atong mga natural resources to dako gitag ma-save niya dako kung atong gamiton sa saktong paagi. If people worldwide switch to energy efficient light bulbs, the world would save $120 billion annually, because it will minimize the need of consumption of electricity and would help them to conserve electrical power. That will be possibly lead to the deflation of electric bills in every household. So makalis kita sa mga expenses if gamito nato sa saktong paagi ang atong mga natural resources, kay kana sila dako ang nagsagtabang sa atong panginabuhi, sa adlaw natong panginabuhi. So the third would be, should the global population reach 9.6 billion by 2050, the equivalent of almost 3 planets could be required to provide the natural resources needed to sustain current lifestyle. The aftermath of this possible scenario might be the inflation rate rises. The population growth depicts the amount of natural resources. It is correlative rises, the resources decreases, and the prices in the market also rises. So inflation rate din siya dinidabita. So the next slide will be the next slide is the sustainable consumption and production. Sustainable consumption and production is about doing more and better with less. It is also about decoupling the economic growth from environmental degradation, increasing resource efficiency, and promoting sustainable lifestyle. It can also contribute sustainability to poverty, the alleviation, and the transition towards low carbon and green economies. In other words, it is a step to creating a far more sustainable environment in terms of catering for our basic needs. This will help to ensure economic growth and stability, since it would regulate the consumption of limited resources. Also, this is also a movement that secures the availability of our resources in the future for the next generation to make use. In sustainable consumption, when we say sustainable is we must focus on our needs, not our wants. And also we must store some necessities that we need for, in terms of the example is the calamities. Dapat mag-store tag mga foods, mga makatabang na to kung na ay mga sakuna or uban pa. It is about doing more better with less. So sakto na siya. So the next slide is the summary, about to summarize everything that has been stated. Responsible consumption and production seeks to address the surfacing effects of the abuse of consuming our available and limited resources through revising it, meaning to say, instead of consuming more while producing less, we should be consuming less while producing enough and preserving more. So sakto muna siya. Through this, we can realign our habit of consuming our resources in respect to its rate of production, availability, and sustainability. Our consumption must be proportional to production and preservation. Some may think that production is all about producing raw materials and other resources we might need. However, they are mistaken. Production could be taken as a result of too much consumption, which may lead to great excess of waste production of waste materials. So that's all about the consumption production. how to be a responsible consumer and also their production. So that's all, and thank you.